Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I am Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
All right, so in this episode, we took a look at 10 preseason top 25s just from the big guys, ESPN, Yahoo, SI, some of the top metrics as well, ESPN, SP Plus, and FPI. We combined them into a consensus media top 25, so let's just go through that. Let's start with 25 through 21, Ryan.
Sure. All right. So we got Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, Arizona State, Coastal Carolina, and UW as the 25 through 21 here. So what are you noticing from this group, Trey?
Yeah, I mean, Coastal is the one that stands out. This ranking by the media is kind of a nod to last year and their storybook year, but I'm really honestly not willing to bank on them being here at the end of the year. You know, as a podcast, we love them. I'm loyal. But if I look within the Sun Belt itself, Louisiana and App State are actually ranked ahead of them in some of the early preseason metrics. I mean, I like Louisiana maybe a little bit more. They returned so many starters. Billy Napier's up-and-coming coach. And more importantly, they're in an easier Sun Belt division. In fact, the Coastal's division's really hard. They're the second team in their division, or I'm sorry, the worst team in their division would be competing in that West division. So Coastal should be good. But if I had to put my chips in someone, I might lean towards Louisiana there. And then a couple other that jump out. Ole Miss, you really want to see if Lane Kiffin's defense can improve in year two. Matt Corral, the offense should be rolling. But they gave up over 500 yards a game. They need to shore that up in order to be a legitimate threat to get into the top 25 by the end of the year. And then finally, Washington, I think, is in a good spot here. In the very brief season last year, they won the North. They just need that offense to take a step forward. I feel like they have a high ceiling if that offense develops, but I think 21st seems like a legitimate spot at this point.
All right, before we move on to 20 to 16, just a reminder, put your comments below. Let us know what you think if someone's overrated, underrated, maybe a team that got snubbed. We're not going to, go through every single team and give our thoughts on all of them, but just kind of the ones that stand out to us. So 20 to 16, we've got LSU, Indiana, Penn State, Texas, and Miami. What stands out here, Ryan?
I think this is just we kind of talked about this before a little bit, but it is the hardest five to really rank. I see a lot of maybe upward and downward trajectory with these teams. I could see LSU, okay, with a bunch of talent, they're putting it together. Max Johnson or Miles Brennan really takes off. Great. Indiana, maybe they're kind of streak of a couple of good seasons in a row kind of comes to an end. It's possible if Penix's injury concerns, right? Penn State, can they bounce back? Texas, a new coach coming in, still a ton of talent, lose a quarterback, plenty of things to work with, but I could see them struggling a little bit, but I could also see them winning the Big 12. And then the U, how's Derek King going to come back? Is he going to be healthy? If he is, they should be pretty darn good, but there's just so much unknowns. This is a tough group to rank. I could see one of these teams making a run at the playoff, and then I could see some of these teams maybe even missing a bowl game if things go real south for him. So to me, I'm most interested in these QB battles with the LSU and Texas. You got Casey Thompson and Hudson Card for Texas. I'll give the edge to Thompson there, maybe just because of his experience so far. And then Max Johnson, Miles Brennan over at LSU. I don't know. I'm giving the edge to Max Johnson just the way he finished, but Brennan would be a good choice as well. So, but it'll be interesting to see how those play out.
Yeah, a lot of high variance teams there.
Yep.
Absolutely. So our next chunk, we got Iowa, USC, Wisconsin, Florida, and Oregon. Michael, what stands out there?
Well, I guess I'll kind of go to the top, and I'm interested to see how at 11 and 12 how those quarterbacks perform, because those are major X factors, not just for those teams, but for kind of the playoff hunt, because both of those teams have the capability to be in it. Looking at number 11, Oregon, if Anthony Brown stays healthy, I think is kind of the biggest concern with him. A little bit of performance concern. We don't know, how he's going to adapt to Joe Moorhead's offense. But if he stays healthy, I think they're going to be really good because the defense is good. Mario Cristobal always has a great offensive line. I really like the skill talent at running back and receiver. So that team's ready-made for a quarterback to kind of elevate them. And then you've got Florida, who, yes, loses a lot of production, but I trust Dan Mullen, and if he can get Emory Jones, if he ends up being the starter, to be an efficient passer, then they're going to be great again, because you love the running element that he brings. Kind of brings back the the running element like Dak Prescott had at Mississippi State under Mullen and Nick Fitzgerald. That would be, a nice benefit. Obviously, Kyle Trask, you're not going to be as good of efficient of a passer as he was, but
Right.
the run element can help make up for it.
Yeah, I agree with your takes there for sure. All right, let's move on to 10 through 6. All right, so we got Cincinnati, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Texas A&M, and the Cyclones of Iowa State. All right.
Crazy.
So, what do we think about this one here, Trey?
Really, there are two teams that really stand out. One, Notre Dame, I think here is overranked. I try not to overreact to personnel losses for these top programs because in general, they seem to always have a new batch of talent that just is ready to roll and come in and produce. But in the Irish's case, it's really hard for me to overlook the staggering amount of production they lose. They're almost dead last in the nation in returning production. Now it's helped or boosted a little thanks to transfers like Jack Cohn at quarterback, but that's not necessarily totally moving the needle for me. The one thing going for the Irish, though, is their schedule isn't impossible this year. Generally, their toughest games are at home, games like Cincinnati, SC, and North Carolina. So that could help them in the end, but I still think they're a touch overrated at this point. And then the other one that really jumps off, I think, for a lot of people is Iowa State. And I think a lot of people are going to say, Iowa State, they can't be 6. Like, there's no way they're that good. They're the Cyclones. Like, what the heck? Yeah, and sure, every year there's teams in the top 10 that flame out, and they don't always work. But I encourage you to look at it this way. Treat Iowa State like a blind resume, or think of them as Ohio State here. If I told you that blind team or Ohio State finished the year in the top 10 in almost all the rankings or in all the metrics, their preseason top 10, and again, the rankings and the metrics, top 15 efficient offense and defense last year, and their top 5 in the nation in returning production, you wouldn't even hesitate for a second if it was Ohio State or that blind resume to have them this high. So please think of them that way.
Yeah. I mean, you got to put them top 10 because they were borderline top 10 last year. And like you said, they got just about everybody back. So while 6, it looks super high. I mean, I don't know. It's certainly not crazy. But you got to have them.
6.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have them behind this upcoming group because, well, before I even get to that group, it's kind of interesting to look at this 6 through 10 here. Everyone but Notre Dame has never been to the playoffs. So we got some chance for some new blood. If there is, it's going to, good chance it comes from this group. But the top 5 is all the usual suspects. We got at number 5, Ohio State, Georgia, Oklahoma, Clemson, and Alabama. Ryan, any thoughts here?
No, it's a clear top 5. There's really... it's a clear-cut pecking order. I mean, you go from Ohio State at 5 to Iowa State 6. I don't think really anybody would put Iowa State above Ohio State. So this is a clear top 5. I like Alabama and Clemson where they're at 1 and 2. You could flip-flop them, and I'd be fine with it, but I'd lean towards Bama myself. And I have Ohio State at 5. The only thing I would probably switch from this list, personally, is I'd switch Georgia and Oklahoma. I mean, that's splitting hairs, but I think what we saw from JT Daniels really kind of propelling that offense a little bit. And apparently he's doing really well this spring as well. We know what they have defensively and the incredible amount of talent. I have them ahead of OU. I would just trust them a little bit more. And, OU's good, no doubt about it. I'm putting them at 4th. Spencer Rattler's a great player, but I'll take Georgia there. I know Georgia does also have some injury concerns, right? They lost
George Pickens,
yeah. But they do get Blaylock back. So, I mean, it kind of helps them again. I know Pickens is a great player, but I still think they have enough to be really, really good. So this was just an easy top 5, though. I mean, it was not that hard to come up with, so I would just switch those 2.
Yeah, tough to disagree with that. Yeah, that chunk there. But that'll do it for the College Football Bros. If you like our content, be sure to subscribe because next week we're going to have, I think, at least 5 episodes. We're going to rank the top head coaches or every head coach in every Power 5 conference. So, again, be sure you've subscribed. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. Let us know your comments down below. We'll see you next week.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.